Hi, I'm Cheryl, and this is Spirit Mail. Well, welcome to Spirit Mail, Daily Mail segment number 8. And I am Cheryl, and I am human. And I started out that way because I just want you to know I am not a guru. I am not a spiritual master. I am not anything like that, but I am a human being who learns lessons, and obviously I've had to learn them the hard way. But what I want to share with you tonight is another lesson that I learned the hard way, and it might make you mad because I'm going to pull you through a little test. Whenever and I'm not a teacher or anything like that. I just want to share the things that I've learned. So so that hopefully you can learn them faster than without the consequences that I've had to suffer by learning them. Okay. I want to talk about mirrors. Okay. Everybody says, in these communities, as we grow in our spirituality, as within, so without, as above, so below, all that kind of stuff. And there's this idea out there, which is really pretty profound, that everybody is a mirror. Everybody reflects a part of us in some way or another. And the first time I heard about this was at a board meeting, and the lady who was conducting the meeting, she said, I want you to think about somebody who really gets under your skin, somebody that you almost could say that you hate. So it took me a while because, I generally like people, right? So it took me a while. This was years ago, like 2001. So I thought about somebody, and she says, think really good. Now I want you to go along with this test too. Think about somebody that really gets under your skin. And what is that one thing about them that really, really gets under your skin? Just think about that for a minute. And so then she backs up and she says, okay, you can stop. She says, that person, that thing is hidden somewhere deep within you, either as a wound that you've never healed or an issue with your own life that you've never dealt with. Man, I was mad. And you're probably mad too right now. And you probably want to click off and say, I don't even want to hear this. But I'm going to ask you to listen just for a little while longer. So as the years go by, I've gone, I go to retreats and I go to seminars and stuff like that. I buy the books, I go to seminars, all that. And I was at a Greg Braden retreat, and he started talking about mirrors and the 7 different mirrors and all this other stuff. And immediately, this was in 2015, I immediately went back to 2001, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And the way he told it, he went in a little more depth to tell it, and I was like, okay, now I can put the pieces together, now I understand. So very recently, as in like within the last 3 or 4 months, I was sitting at my kitchen table with my 25-year-old daughter and my 23-year-old daughter, and we were having a very serious conversation about judgment, because there was a situation in our community where a little girl, not a little girl, she's a young woman, about 23 years old, a man came to work on her stuff and her air conditioner or whatever, and she answered the door very young. She answered the door in her boxer shorts, in her tank top, and no bra. And he said, did I wake you up? And she says, yeah, but that's okay. Are you here to fix the air conditioner? He says, yeah. She says, come on in. So he goes in to do the job or whatever, and she's, kind of watching, hanging around, whatever she's doing. And he starts packing up his stuff to leave. And she says, well, where are you going? He says, well, I'm leaving. And she says, why? And he says, you're cute. And you're like, no clothes on. I'm a man. I got to get out of here. Well, then when he went back the next time, she was, I don't know how she was dressed that time, but anyway, he kind of came on to her, and it blew up into a big old deal. So my kids were talking about it at the table, and I said to them, well, wait a minute, don't you think that she could have gone and put on some clothes? And my and this is probably going to get, everybody's going to have different opinions, which is great. It's a good conversation to have. And my 25-year-old daughter says, it's her house. She should be able to be who she is. I said, well, let's think about that. I said, because if, whenever your daddy and his girlfriend come over for dinner, and we don't smoke. I don't smoke around her because it's very offensive to her. It's offensive to her to smell it, I don't know if she's allergic to it, I don't know what, she just can't be around it. So I don't smoke whenever she's here. I'll go outside or go away from her or whatever. I don't smoke around her. I said, so that doesn't make me any less of a person. I was telling my daughter this as it related to that other little girl. Her putting on some clothes doesn't make her any less of a person, doesn't make her not be able to express herself. It just says, I understand this other person has an issue, whether it's he's a man or she's a woman who can't be around smoke, whatever. And so I'm going to alter my behavior a little bit out of respect. And they just couldn't understand that. And we were talking about it. And my voice gets like, whenever I get real passionate, I really, and my 25-year-old says, Mom, you don't have to yell about it. And I said, I'm not yelling. I just get so passionate and I can't, it's like I get frustrated with my words because they don't come out right. And so I said, I'm trying to think of a good example. I'm going to go figure it out. I know I'll come up with one or something like that. Anyway, I went in the bathroom to finish putting on my makeup. I was getting dressed, listening to them talk. And then that story about the girlfriend that's when it dawned on me. And I came back out. I said, okay, this is what it's like. And my 25-year-old rolled her eyes and she says, okay, Mom, really? And I said, no, really. And so I started saying it again. She says, okay, but you don't have to yell. I said, Courtney, get over it. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not even yelling. I'm just being, and I said, you need to quit getting your feelings hurt. So something like that. And she got up, she slammed down the thing, got up and walked out and almost in tears. And I looked at my 23-year-old and I said, wow, I really messed that up, didn't I? And she says, well, Mom, she said, you were trying to explain to her that sometimes we should adjust our behavior for the sake of somebody else, yet you weren't willing to adjust your behavior when you know how a loud voice affects her because of her anxiety. I said, wow. So the mirror, even though I was talking about how great I was because I didn't smoke around my ex-husband's girlfriend whenever they came over, and I was talking about how that little girl should have put on some clothes, it didn't dawn on me, with the people that we love most, it didn't dawn on me that me raising my voice affected her anxiety. She suffered from anxiety since high school. So there was a mirror. There was a mirror in action of me doing exactly to her what I was judging that little girl about. And so it's like everything's a mirror. They're there all the time for us to understand. So, obviously I went and apologized to my daughter, right? But that's how it works. So whenever because we're all human, we're all in this community of love and light, and we want to spread love and all that, but we're still human. Some of us are further along on the journey, and maybe we don't ever go there. Maybe we don't ever lose our cool, or we don't ever mess up. But some of us are still human. That's me. And I'm still making mistakes and learning as I go. And that's why I'm so passionate about talking to you guys, because I know y'all are doing the same thing. A lot of you are on the same journey as I am, somewhere along the way. And so we all make mistakes, and whenever something like that happens, we have to go to the person, obviously, and ask them to forgive us. I went and asked her to forgive me. And I admitted to her that I did to her exactly what I was explaining that little girl shouldn't have done to that man. And I say little girl, young woman. And of course she forgave me, but I really had to do some work within myself too, to forgive myself and just remind myself that next time, whenever I'm trying to have a conversation like that, to be more conscientious about the words I use or the tone I use, whether it's her or anybody else. That, we need to do that. And again, it was a mirror in action. It was me talking about judging somebody and the way that she didn't acclimate to the conditions around her, yet I was doing exactly that thing. So I don't know if you've heard me say, my 23-year-old, I call her my baby Buddha, the happy Buddha, the 10 of water in that Good Tarot deck. That's the one that reminds me of her. And so she was the one who said, Mom, you just did to her exactly what what you were telling her not to do, or what you were saying that other little girl should have not done. So with that said, we're all on this journey together. Again, some of us are at different places along the way, and but for those of you who are like me, and we're still human and we still mess up, that is one of those things that sometimes we can get messed up, even in our passion, even in our desire to help and our desire to teach. We mess up. So, but the mirror is a real thing. So whenever you think about those people that aggravate you, or those people that don't do it right, or wherever we try to judge or correct something in somebody else, whether to their face, verbally, or in our own minds, whenever we're trying to correct or judge something in somebody else, it's normally because there's something within ourselves that is either a deep wound that we haven't healed yet, or an issue that we ourselves struggle with. So there's that, the mirror. And that's episode 8 of Daily Mail. Now we're going to get a PS. God, guides, angels, archangels, Holy Spirit, I thank you so much for the PS. And I thank you for letting us see things in our own lives that sometimes need correcting, or that do need correcting, so that we can become all that we were created to be and all that we came here to be, that we can experience all that we came here to experience. I thank you again for the PS. I thank you for love, light, and prosperity, and I thank you for clear and concise messages, clarification, confirmation, and validation. And now we're going to do the PS. Yeah. Even in our passion, we need to be reserved. We need to take on the qualities of the King, right? He's not in your face with his passion, kind of like I was that day. He's not that way. So I would do good to embody, maybe in meditation, ask God and let me embody the qualities of a king, the confidence, the quiet confidence, the quiet stature, the surety of who I am and what I'm saying, so that whenever I communicate, I can communicate my passion in an inspired way that helps people to grow instead of pushes them out of my house because my mouth is too mouthy. Okay, and then the Magician. Okay, this talks about, we create our reality, and it's with our words and our thoughts and our feelings. And again, I'm going to go back to that scripture that I talk about all the time, Proverbs 4:23. We guard our hearts with all diligence, because out of it are the issues of life. We create, whether we're trying to create or not, we are creating 24/7. Every thought, and somebody said it really good, and I can't think of who it is. I think, well, I'm not even going to try to say, but it's the sponsoring thought. It's not the thought that we have up here. It's that thought in the back of our mind that produces this other thought. So it's those deep-seated thoughts that end up creating. And again, we're creating 24/7, not just whenever we're sitting down writing out our affirmations or saying our affirmations out loud or whatever those things are. 24/7, our thoughts, our feelings, our words are creating. So it's kind of like that one I did last night. Let's think about what we're thinking about, because it's like, what do we want to do? Do we want our thoughts to allow us to move forward, or do we want to let our thoughts bring us backwards? Because we're always creating. This is who we are by nature. And there's the Judgment card. So whenever we can truly really, whenever we look at somebody else in judgment, we should turn that mirror back on ourselves and say, what is it in me that causes me to try to pick that out in that person? Because obviously there's something in me that needs a little bit of work too. I didn't need to judge that little girl about her inability to accommodate that man. I mean, I was really trying to teach, but I was judging her that she should have put on some clothes. That was my feelings. But in my delivery, I was doing exactly what she did. I was not considering the feelings of the other person across from me. I was not considering them at all. So the judgment is, it's about rebirth, right? And this is a process, y'all. We don't overnight become perfect. No way. But our intentions are good. We want to do the right thing. And along the way, we're going to knuckle down and fall over. And we just have to get up and dust ourselves off and say, okay, that wasn't good for me to do. That doesn't spread love and light. What I did that day didn't spread love and light. I was trying to, but my message was wrong. My delivery was wrong. So every day is a rebirth for us. Every day. Every day. Okay, guys, thank you so much for stopping in. I look forward to seeing y'all next time on Daily Mail. And until then, have a super duper day. Bye.